All right, so in the last module, when we talked about Dart functions, we talked about part one of Dart functions, and those were the simplest of functions. They simply package a whole bunch of code together inside some curly braces so that when you want all of these instructions to be executed in one go, you can simply call the function by specifying its name. But it's rather curious how we've been using these parentheses and we've always left it empty. What are they for? Well, I like to think of these types of functions as the most basic type of functions. And there's actually three different levels of functions, if you will. If this is the most basic, then let's call it the vanilla flavor of functions. Now we're coming across the next flavor of functions. And we saw this in the code in the last lesson. We saw that we could specify an input to our function inside those parentheses, and we could use that input inside the function. And this makes our function far more adaptable because we can now get it to do slightly different things by providing a different input. So now let's talk about part two of Dart functions. We're leveling up our Dart functions. So coming back to our little robot, what if instead of just telling him to go and get milk, we could actually tell him how many bottles of milk to get? And we would do that by calling the function getMilk and providing an input in between the parentheses. So if we wanted 2 bottles, we would write 2. If we wanted 4 bottles, we would write 4. So that means that our little robot is a little bit more intelligent now. We don't have to always get 1 bottle of milk every single time it goes to the store. Instead of having a function that looks like this, where it's just a whole bunch of instructions packaged together into a block with a name, we now have some inputs inside the parentheses. And those inputs can be used inside the block of code to change the functionality of that block of code. And now we can use that input inside the function. For example, we could calculate the cost of getting X number of bottles, right? If they called get milk and they wanted 2 bottles of milk, then if 1 bottle of milk was £1.50, then that would be £3 for the total cost of the milk. Basically, we now have this input, or some might call an argument, and this is something that will modify the functionality of this function. But there's 2 important parts to this. And one is you have to specify the data type that goes into this function. And you also have to give it a name so that you can refer to it when you need it inside the curly braces of this block of code. Now, when you call the function, it also looks a little bit different. We still call it by its name, but inside the parentheses, instead of having an empty set of parentheses, we give it an input. So let's say we want to get 2 bottles of milk. Well, then the input now flows into the function and it becomes stored inside this name called bottles. Now, the first thing it checks is to make sure that it definitely is getting the right data type as the input. So it's definitely getting an integer in this case. And 2 is a whole number, so that's completely fine. So when we call getMilk, passing in the input of 2, it's almost like we're creating a new variable that is of data type int. It has a name of bottle and it has a value of 2. So now inside the curly braces of this function, we get to use this new variable, including to calculate the cost or do whatever we will with that input. Now, it's your part to apply this in practice. Head over to a dartpad and I want you to create a greeting robot. Now, this greeting robot is pretty simple. All it needs to do is to print a greeting, such as "Hello, Angela," to the console. Notice here, I'm calling a function called greet and I'm passing in the input that's my name, but it could also be anybody else's name. And this name in here has to be put after a hello or a how do you do or howdy, and it has to be printed into the console. So go ahead and create this greet function that achieves this functionality. Pause the video and complete this challenge. All right, so we start out creating our function with the keyword void, and then we give our function a name. So in this case, it's going to be called greet, because that's how we said we would be using it. Now we have a set of parentheses, and inside here we specified the argument or the inputs to this function. Now in this case, we want to be able to pass in a name so that later on we can simply execute the functionality that's print, and we can say something like hello, and we might be able to add a name into there. So that will go in here. And the data type that our greet function will accept is a string, because it's going to be a name, right? It'll be Angela or Jack Bauer or whatever it may be. And then we have to give that a name, and we'll call it person to greet. And now we get to use this person to greet inside our function. So every time I say inside, it just means inside the curly braces. And we can use our $sign to add that person to greet to the end of our hello sentence. And let's cap it off with a semicolon. And now when I hit run, it will go into main to see what it needs to do, and we tell it to call the greet function. So it finds this greet function. We give it the input or an argument of Jack Bauer. So Jack Bauer then goes inside here, and now person to greet is equal to Jack Bauer. So now inside this function, when it looks to see what it needs to do, it'll print out the words hello and the person to greet, which in this case is Jack Bauer. So it will simply replace it right here. And so now effectively we've done the same thing as write print hello Jack Bauer, but it's so much more flexible because we can specify any input and it will simply run it through the same process. I hope that makes sense, but you might also realize that there's a bit of a weakness here. What if we had two things here? What if we said we had another greeting, right? What if, I wanted to be able to define what I say to this person? Say I want to be able to say, instead of hello, I might want to say goodbye, right? So let's use our greeting variable here. And then we've got our person to greet here. And here I can simply write Jackie and I'll say howdy. And I'm going to separate them with a comma. So now if we click run, you can see that what gets printed is howdy Jackie. So if I say how do you do, then our function ends up printing how do you do Jackie. We can use as many inputs as we want, but at some point it gets a bit confusing, right? When we're calling this function, which one should go where? Is it this one that should go first, or is it the other one that has to go first? And notice that this actually matters. The order matters, because if I click run now, it'll instead print Jackie, how do you do, right? The first part is this greeting, and the second part is this person to greet. So to minimize confusion, one of the things that you can do is to add this name into the greet function as an argument name. So then you would call this function like this. You would say greet with the greeting, that is how do you do, and with the person to greet being this one. And when we've been using a lot of functions that came from the Flutter team, this is what we've been seeing. Now, in order for this to work, all you have to do is just add a set of curly braces around your input parameters. And that allows you to use these names that you've defined in the input when you call the function, as well as when you're inside the function. And this means that there's less confusion when you're actually trying to trigger the functionality. So whereas previously we simply had the data type and the name of the input argument, now we're adding some curly braces around the input arguments where we want to use their name. And so now when I call this getMilk function, it won't let me give it an input unless I specified which argument the input was for. But it also means that I can swap things around now, and the order no longer matters. I can say that the person to greet is Jackie, and the greeting is going to be how do you do. And now if I hit run, it achieves exactly the same thing. But because I now can associate my data with the argument, it's much, much clearer what's actually happening with my function. So now that you've learned all about functions in Dart, let's head back to completing our xylophone app.